the Dog Man, here to talk about video games. Well, and anyway, we're here to talk about Dragon Quest and why it may be something you like or don't like, or I don't know what the zeitgeist is all about. Because Dragon Quest isn't that big in the West, even though there's, well, actually, all the main series games have been released in America in English at some point in various forms, but the series never took off here, even though it's one of those games that basically shuts Japan the fuck down. Every time a new game comes out, you got Dragon Quest and Monster Hunter, and Monster Hunter has finally found an audience in the West with Monster Hunter World, even though I like it but don't love it. I'm more a stickler for old Monster Hunter games just because they kind of have more content and more things to do. But this is not about Monster Hunter. This is about Dragon Quest and why it's special. Well, as you can see, Dragon Quest XI here looks beautiful. Look, happy. I got a center part like I'm in Hanson. What's not to like about that? But I don't know. In any case, Dragon Quest is the most JRPG of JRPGs. I think the first one released in 1986, like a year earlier than Final Fantasy, and Dragon Quest kind of popularized the JRPG as we know it. It kind of turned the formula into what it is. I mean, it was, although only barely, it was a pre-Final Fantasy world, and Mr. Yuji Horii, pretty much like director of, oh boy, that's a bad viewpoint. Anyway, pretty much the director of like every Dragon Quest game ever, at least in the main series, was really into like D&D and shit in the 80s, and was like, wow, that's cool, Americans like this. I want to make something like that, and he made Dragon Quest, and it started the turn-based battle thing pretty much. Well, it didn't start it, that was more like an invention of like Ultima. Yuji Horii was really inspired by like D&D and Ultima and stuff like that, which what's his name? Richard Garriott? I believe that's the creator of Ultima, but that doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? I mean, Ultima's sick, but we're not talking about Ultima. We're killing sunflower monsters, crazy daisies, and real 90s kids know getting slapped in the face by a crazy daisy. But anyway, we are describing why this shit is cool. I mean, you're watching a battle right now. It's turn-based. You can move around. This is inconsequential to anything. This is a battle/camera mode that you can turn on or off in this game, and they're like, hey, you can have a directed camera where it, swoops around, shows when people attack when they get hurt, or you can run around for fun and it affects nothing, because Dragon Quest XI is painstakingly old, if not to a fault, if that's something that actually bugs you. While we have had the Final Fantasy series in the West, pretty much every Final Fantasy game, for the most part, is drastically different from the one before it. Usually there's new systems, new monsters, sometimes, you get the staples, but you get new guys too, new shit to kill, and, I don't know, things are added. Job systems, sphere grids, weapon abilities, tactical combat, real-time combat, all that stuff. Final Fantasy has always, for the most part, tried to differentiate itself from its other predecessors in the series, and Dragon Quest wants to do no such thing. The battle system in this is basically the fucking same thing as the first game from 86. 86, 87, I forgot what I already said earlier in the video, because that's how prepared I am for the internet. But in any case, like, Dragon Quest has just stuck to its roots in it being lighthearted, cute monsters, like a story that can get serious but isn't so fucking painstakingly grim that you feel pressed for time to finish it and you feel like lives are at stake or, shit like that. Dragon Quest has never been about that. There's always some sort of ultimate evil that's going to get resurrected and you need to fight it for whatever reason, but the game and the story and just the way the plot is delivered to you is just okay with you doing that at your own pace. It's like, yeah, bad guy's coming at some point, but why don't we go gamble in the city real quick? And that's something Dragon Quest, I personally think, does a lot better than Final Fantasy or other JRPGs, is you have your main story or whatever, and then you have lots of stopgap, smaller stories. Pretty much every time you enter a new city, you know you're going to get a small little storyline that's just kind of about its own thing. And it really, I don't want to say pads out, because padding indicates that something unnecessary, or it's the game is, you know, fucking with you to get more length out of it. The stories in the cities you visit always tie into the main plot in some way or another, and they're fun little adventures for your party. Like, getting new party members is such a fun and joyful thing, and the way you do it is fun, and the stories you partake in are always fun. And then you know you're gonna hit that you know, main plot afterwards for a little bit, and then you know you're gonna run into another town and stop and really take in the sights, see how people live in different places, help them out with their little problems, and then in turn they will help you out achieve your greater goal. And every city in a Dragon Quest game, well, at least with the 3D entries where you know, more detail is available for the developers, they like, all the cities feel really different. All the people have their own regional dialects. See, people speak Spanish here in Puerto Valor. And this is like a charming little sea town that has a nice beach that people hang out at. And if you come here at night, people are having like a little bonfire and having a dance at the beach and singing songs and stuff. And that's what they do every night. And at nighttime, the casino opens and you can go earn some money or lose it all if you choose. And that's the way nightlife is in this city. This city looks very, I don't know, Mediterranean in a way. Beautiful sea. People hanging out. Here's a kid talking about ancient ruins. We don't give a shit. Shut up. And that's just how this city is. All the others are so different. Cool thing about Dragon Quest: quick travel is free. Let's go to Hotto. Oh, and this game also loves its puns and alliterations. Most English translations for Dragon Quest games are like that. Like, these games aren't afraid to have fun. In fact, they really really like hedge on you enjoying those puns and having fun, and not feeling grim about what you're doing or what is coming up, which is very unlike Final Fantasy. Like, you know, ask anybody who played Final Fantasy, you know, 7. Like, boy, that's grim. Or the original Final Fantasy Tactics. Holy shit, people are getting poisoned and stabbed, and there's an evil church doing bad stuff. And then here, it's like, oh, we're in Hotto. It's Japanese themed. And their big thing is Smithery. That sounded weird. It sounded like I was talking about Mr. Smithers. Like, they have a hearth here. Oh shit, I'm standing in it. And their big thing is like, we make the best blades, and we also have hot springs. Yeah, hot springs, because it's Japanese. So don't worry, it's not as bad as it could be, which is a low bar. But, you know, check this out. This is so different from where we were just at. We can talk to some kids. They are pretending they're dragons. How about Grandma? Talking about those kids. Shut up. Yeah, let's take a look at some other cities while I talk about more stuff. Let's go to Gondolia. Take a wild guess at what is that Gondolia? What does that sound like? I wonder. Real quick aside about this game. I'm playing this on a PS4 Pro, where the load times aren't that bad. Apparently, they are not great if you're using a baseline PS4. And the game is also sub 1080p on a baseline PS4, which is wild for 2018, especially a game built on Unreal Engine. But what can you do? In the East, in Japan, they are just now getting used to Unreal Engine and how to utilize that tool set and what all that means, because, I don't know, stuff was always on in-house engines in Japan, or, you know, something strange like Capcom MT Framework, shit like that. Anyway, whoa, frame rate. All right, we're in Gondolia. Look, gondolas, beautiful. Nothing dreadful happening here. That guy doesn't have an accent, which is really weird because the other dudes do. This guy fight me. Sir Jasper was furious. We're not going to talk about Jasper right now. I want you to enjoy the game yourself. Let's talk to the mayor. What is his name? It's funny. Doji Rotundo. That's what it is. Here we go. Let's go speak to this man. Look at that. He's Italian. How charming. Dragon Quest is all about its charm and about its fun and about its cute monsters, and I don't know, you just having a nice little quest that you can take at your own pace. Due to every new city having like a small quest line that fits into the bigger picture, you don't feel like you need to actually sit down with this game and play it for like 8 hours at a time like you do with some JRPGs and stuff like that. Like, sometimes I'd feel that way with like a Final Fantasy game or something like that, but here, that's not the case. I often find myself not even finishing a full small story in one play session. I'll take it like, I don't know, maybe cut it into 2 or 3 parts and just enjoy my time with it. These games are not meant to be blasted through. They're not meant to be urgent, and you're just meant to have fun. And all this does not imply that the story does not get serious or sad or anything like that, because I personally just had a very sad part in the game, and since the game is not based around misery like some JRPGs can be, by the time you get to a sad part or a serious part or a scary part or an intense part, that actually feels earned within the narrative. It actually means a lot more. Like if somebody dies or a character is sad or a character cries when normally there's nothing to cry about, you feel really bad. As opposed to, I don't know, Final Fantasy Tactics, where it's all about stabbing people in the back, or Final Fantasy VII, where it's like the planet is dying in my weird cyberpunk dystopia, or Final Fantasy XII, where it's like there's an oppressive empire fucking up my life, or what have you, whatever that game's about. Or 10, where it's like, hey, here's this religious pilgrimage where for the person you love is gonna die. Okay, you know, grim, we get it. And there's a place for that. There's definitely a place for that, especially in the JRPG field. But very few things are made like Dragon Quest anymore. They just don't make them like this anymore, except they do, because Dragon Quest XI is out, and you should play it if that is something that is, I don't know, interesting to you. Like, if you want to have a good time, you want to find cute little monsters, you want to take a leisurely pace through this game, take a stroll, see the sights, meet people, talk to them, enjoy the awesome Akira Toriyama artwork and character design, because that has been a staple since the first game, even though, you know, the first thing was on like the NES and didn't really have capabilities for that. If you looked in the instruction manual, you'd get cool art, and it was awesome. If you heard my cat, it's because she's cursed and she's like screaming, and I'm upset at her. We're gonna ignore her because she's orange and has triangle ears. But I don't know. There just aren't many experiences in gaming like this anymore. At least not in 2018. At least not with the way the gaming industry is. Things that are happening in the industry, be that you know, stuff with business and then stuff with the community. Unfortunately, there's like lots of violence in the community right now, like a real life violence in the community, which is absolutely horrible. And I don't know. Sometimes you need to take a step back and realize that some video games are just meant to be enjoyed, and you're meant to feel okay while playing them. It's okay to have a happy experience, and I think that's what Dragon Quest is all about, and what makes it special, and what makes Dragon Quest special to me and special to a lot of people. It kind of represents I don't necessarily want to say a better time, but a simpler time for gaming and life in general. And every entry in the series has stuck to that. There was never any forced evolution in the series where there didn't need to be, because there was nothing wrong with the way Dragon Quest was. That doesn't mean there aren't room for improvements, or that there aren't small changes between games, but things that are, I don't know, considered leisurely or fun or happy were just kept intact. And the game it's just that way. It's meant for you to have a good time while you play it. And I think that's what makes Dragon Quest special. And if that sounds cool to you, you should probably pick it up. If you're like, oh, I don't really get any enjoyment out of boring turn-based combat that is exactly the same every time, or no crazy mechanics, or no weird min-maxing or anything like that, and you know, a happy story to you doesn't matter because you like crunching numbers as opposed to the plot, which, like, that's a valid way to play RPGs. A lot of people play them that way. I personally don't. I like to explore and have some cool story and stuff, and I'm not really about doing the big damage, but some people are. And if that's like the number one thing you look for in an RPG, I would probably steer clear of it. But if you like to have a good time and have a time that's not too, I don't know, dismal, then this is probably what you want. Even games like the last two Ni no Kuni games, although they are cute and adorable, like, oh boy, they're about some grim shit. First one, my mom is dead. I need her back. I'm a child. Ni no Kuni 2. The president in World War III? I guess. I don't know. That's the direction those games went. And this is unbelievably corny and tropey. I have a symbol on my hand. I'm the reborn guy to fight the dark thing. Cool. Everybody loves it except for some. There's conflict, but barely any. Have fun. Enjoy it. Look at your ugly hair. That's what Dragon Quest XI is about. And I think that's all I have to say about it. So maybe, yeah, next week we can make a video on something else. Well, maybe. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it, whatever. Keeps me busy. Anyways, thanks for listening. I'm passionate about Dragon Quest. I hope you may be eventually as well. And I don't know. Have fun. We'll see you next week on Legends of the Hidden Temple.